3 lobster, 1 asperge.
Right, 3 lobsters.
1 asperge.
1 egg is no lobster, chef. No lobster.
Oh, no lobster.
2 belly, 1 rabbit, 3 mushroom.
2 belly, 1 rabbit. 3 mushroom.
3 lamb, 2 annual, 1 milk boys.
3 lamb, chef. 2 annual.
My first meeting with Chef Keller was extraordinary. He's a very soft-spoken guy and he has got time for everyone and everything. If you ask him any question, he's got an answer for you and he will tell you why something is done in a particular way. There is something about him and his presence or his aura. Just because of his presence, things are moving so smoothly and that is really good.
The real underlying experience for me in developing this style and evolving in this style is really the law of diminishing return. The more you have of something, the less you like it. And that comes from my adolescent years in South Florida and having a beer on the beach. That first cold beer was always so refreshing, so delicious, and of course the second was less so, and the third was even less so. So I kind of started to formulate this idea of having smaller amounts of whatever I was consuming because I enjoyed it much more.
I am a stagiaire. Commis is higher than me and this is how I get treated, which is really good because it is good to go back a step back or a couple of steps back and then again start learning. Maybe I'll learn management well this way.
I think Michel Roux and certainly his scholarship has helped so many young culinarians kind of start to understand what their career is going to be about. And to be able to travel and experience a new restaurant is one of those ways of understanding.
When you look at the French Laundry, Thomas Keller, we're looking at not a church, a cathedral we're looking at, a temple of gastronomy. We're talking about a dream of life. And today has been fantastic for me because I can see that he's got the grasp. He's been like a sponge. He's been able to understand. And now, in fact, his eyes are open and wide open, and he's taking as much as is possible. So he's doing extremely well.
I think it's a win-win situation for both of us, winning a prize and the prize being able to choose a restaurant to go work in so that he can experience the restaurant. Certainly coming here to the French Laundry has been a great honor for us, and certainly I think a great honor for him as well.
This adventure, which I call French Laundry Adventure, is taking me to my goals. Being a Roux Scholar, you get a chance to work in a different establishment, but it doesn't stop there. You get a chance to meet different people, and I think that also gives you the confidence. It boosts your personality, and you have got lots to talk with them. They have got quite a lot to share with you. So in one way, it's a good thing.
2 bass.
2 bass.
1 is no shellfish.
My philosophy of the French Laundry is really taking the finest ingredients that we can gather from both locally and abroad and manipulating them as little as possible and in order to create a dish that is inspiring to me and hopefully will inspire somebody else and create a memory for them. It starts with the details, it's the gardener printing out a hot sheet of all the different vegetables and blossoms and produce that's available not only in our garden across the street but at the Jacobson's farm as well.
Garden is a wonderful experience. I've worked there for 8-9 hours and it is good to be outside. You appreciate it. As a chef, you appreciate it that you are going to use the same produce into the kitchen, and in a way you get a chance to be with the nature, and I think it's a good cycle. The flavor is unique. Anything that gets picked there within 15 minutes, it is cooked in the kitchen. So all the nutrients are fully packed inside.
I wanted to make the garden an extension of the French Laundry, to draw people out into the garden so they could see where some of the produce is coming from. Having the chefs come out into the garden and show me something that I might not normally think of. That's been a great educational opportunity for me, whether it's what I consider an unripe vegetable, or let's say a yellow zucchini that's pretty large that I think is going to be too tough to use, but in actuality I learned that they like that for making tiny mirepoix.
The product certainly is very important that we get from the garden, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that understanding, that respect for food that is learned and taught here for the young culinarians and certainly the staff at the French Laundry, for them to actually go pick a peach or a green almond or dig up a fresh potato or a carrot, snip thyme, really gives you a whole nother sense of respect for food, understanding where it comes from, the amount of time and dedication that it takes to cultivate a food. It's no longer as easily to waste, if you will.
There's lots of different vegetables and grasses growing, and herbs and blossoms growing wild that are just allowed to grow. It's not as cookie cutter, planter kind of garden-esque. There's lots of fruit, like the best peaches, the best figs in the world. The
quality of the vegetable that comes out of our gardens is extraordinary because it's good, really truly from garden to table, and it's really a wonderful experience. So it's a great synergy, and then our guests really kind of benefit from it as well. Certainly they benefit because of the quality of the vegetables that they're eating, but they also benefit from actually seeing the garden and that synergy between the restaurant and the garden. We really try to maintain a lot of the technique, a lot of the flavor profiles that you find in classic French cuisine. We certainly want to evolve them, we certainly want to refine them, and sometimes modernize them.
The lobster come from New York, and they are broken with a discipline. Not more than 25 lobsters in one tray. You pour hot water on the top, season and vinegar added to it. 2 minutes timer. You take the lobster out of water, break them down, so you get head in one plastic container, the claws in another, and the tail, which is broken down by the chef de parties. The heads are transferred to bouchon, and the lobster what you have is a good quality lobster. This same lobster then is butter poached. 6 kilos of butter, 6 liters of water, seasoning. They literally pour it in that big plastic container, put the circulator in, and they have those small cages where you can arrange the lobster. They stay still, so they are not moving, and it gets poached for 15 minutes. So it's packed full of flavor, and it's on a plate. It looks really lovely. So it's really good to see that, and that is really mind-blowing.
You have to have a strong foundation, and in this case, our strong foundation in classic French cuisine is what allows us to build on that, which allows us for our cuisine to evolve. I think without that strong foundation and that knowledge for us, we won't be able to achieve the goals that we set for ourselves.
It's very interesting to see that each scholar, when they come back, because they come back and they all bring back something different because of the personality with the chef they've been working with, the environment, the style. But there is one thing in common, and that is for sure, is they benefit so much. For them, it was more than an eyes opener. It's something which will be there for life. It's something which will be determined to their success in cooking.